Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So the upcoming Social Security increase was finally announced by the Social Security Administration, and along with that, more changes are also on the way that's going to impact all beneficiaries of Social Security, including retirees, SSI and SSDI beneficiaries. So in today's video, we are going to be covering everything that you need to know. But before we go ahead and dive into for today, if you would like to receive up to $200 in free stock or $200 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Robinhood. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then simply link your bank account. You do not even have to make an opening deposit. At that point in time, Robinhood will be sending you one free stock worth all the way up to $200. And if you'd rather just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive the free stock is just sell it for what it's worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into for today. So once again, the Social Security Administration, after about a 9-day delay because of the government shutdown, finally released what the cost of living adjustment increase is going to be next year in 2026. And along with that, more changes are also on the way that is going to impact all Social Security beneficiaries and future beneficiaries of Social Security. So in today's video, we're going to be covering everything that you need to know straight from Kiplinger. So first off, they say that the 2026 Social Security COLA is 2.8%. Here is what you need to know. So the Social Security annual cost of living adjustment for 2026 is 2.8%. The Social Security Administration announced on Friday, October 24th. This is among the smallest COLA increases since 2020, as expected, and follows a 2.5% increase in 2025. According to the SSA, the 2.8% increase will translate to an additional $56 for the average retiree, resulting in an average monthly check of $2,071, up from $2,015 in 2025. Married couples, on the other hand, will see an average increase of $88, raising their monthly benefit to $3,208 from $3,120 in 2025. So obviously this was higher than initially expected at the beginning of this year. There were projections of 2.1% and even lower by certain people for 2026. They believed that inflation was going to continue to cool. And even though we wouldn't see deflation under the Trump administration, they certainly didn't project that we'd actually see inflation pick back up. So 2.5% was the cost of living adjustment that we received this year in 2025. They expected that to go down to 2.1%. Instead, we're actually going the other way. We're going the opposite direction that we wanted to. We're seeing inflation begin to pick back up. And that is why the cost of living adjustment is actually higher next year in 2026. Now they go on here to say that the 2026 COLA was originally scheduled to be released on October 15th and was delayed due to the impact of the government shutdown. Although the shutdown is ongoing, some employees at the Bureau of Labor Statistics were recalled to prepare the September Consumer Price Index, which is essentially computing the 2026 COLA. CPI was also released on October 24th. So even though the government was shut down, they decided to call staff back in to figure out what the inflation was, mainly because the Social Security Administration needed to be able to make these calculations in October, because if they pushed it back too far to maybe November or even December, that would perhaps make it so they would not be able to figure the computations and be able to send out the increases for everyone starting in January of 2026. Now, as far as historic COLA and average benefit amounts go, how we can compare next year's cost of living adjustment and even this year's cost of living adjustment to prior years, you can see that once again next year in 2026 is going to be a 2.8% cost of living adjustment, whereas this year's COLA was 2.5%. The years before that were 3.2%, 8.7%, and 5.9%. Those were some of the highest years that we've seen recently. And then before them was, quite a bit lower, 1.3% in 2021, 1.6% in 2020, and then 2.8%, 2%, 0.3%, and even 0% all the way back in 2016 when there was no inflation actually taking place. Now, of course, even with these cost of living adjustments, what they're supposed to do what they're intended to do, at least, is to keep up with inflation. That way we keep up with our buying power. In reality, they don't actually do so, and there have actually been numerous studies showing that over the last 15 years or so, people receiving Social Security benefits have lost right around 20% of their buying power because of the cost of living adjustments have not actually been keeping up with real inflation. So what might have been worth $100, 15 years ago is now only worth $80. And even though you're receiving a cost of living adjustment, you're not actually able to buy these same goods and services as you were, a few years ago. So they go on here to say that with the current inflation at 3% and inflation next year a bit less, the COLA should help seniors mostly keep up, said David Payne, economist for the Kiplinger letter. However, some retirees might find this COLA increase lacking, so a 2.8% increase is modest, especially for retirees whose cost increases may be higher in areas such as healthcare, housing, or other retirement-specific expenses. Martha Shedden, co-founder of the National Association of the Registered Social Security Analysts, told Kiplinger, and the COLA has averaged about 2.6% over the past 20 years. It went as low as 0% once again in 2016 amid declining prices, and as high as 8.7% in 2023 when inflation spiked after COVID disruptions. Now, some proposals actually call for the COLA to be based on the Consumer Price Index for Americans age 62 or older, or CPIE for short, but they have so far failed. Proponents of using this price index say it reflects costs incurred by older adults. More accurately than the broader CPIW index, medical expenses and increasing burden on older adults are weighed more heavily in the CPIE than in the CPIW. In reality, though, the COLA is applied not only to retirement benefits, but to disability and survivor benefits as well. So a COLA that is geared towards older beneficiaries would not necessarily address their needs. So of course they have been going back and forth on that, and there have been different pieces of legislation that would include changing the COLA calculations from the CPIW over to the CPIE, but so far they have failed. They have not been able to pass those bills, unfortunately. Now they go on here to say, as far as some other changes go, next year in 2026, to Social Security, first off, have to do with the earnings test limit. So earned income can cost you if you continue to work after claiming Social Security benefits early. In this case, the Social Security earnings test for annual income is applied and reduces your monthly benefit. So the SSA temporarily withholds $1 of your benefits for every $2 earned over $24,480 or $2,040 per month for 2026. In a year the worker hits the full retirement age, the test is more generous. So in that case, the worker forfeits $1 in benefits for every $3 in 2026 earnings above $65,160 or $5,430 per month. So of course that got bumped up, is going to get bumped up next year in 2026. Also, Social Security caps the amount of income you pay taxes on and get credit for when benefits are calculated. So the new Social Security tax limit is $184,500 in 2026, up $8,400 from $176,100 in 2025. The tax limit is indexed to inflation, so you can anticipate it will rise once again in 2027. In 2025, the tax limit was $176,100, and it rose by $7,500 from $168,600 in 2024. So basically, if you're still in the workforce, if you earn a lot of money, you're now going to have to pay taxes on those earnings into the Social Security Trust Fund. It's going to be 6.2 to 12.4%, depending whether you're an employee or depending whether you're self-employed. If you're self-employed, of course, in that case, you are going to have to pay 12.4% on the first $184,500 you earn next year in 2026. And of course, some lawmakers actually want to lift that cap to all earnings above $250,000 because of course, next year in 2026, someone who earns $184,500 is going to be paying the same exact amount of taxes into the Social Security Trust Fund as someone who, say, earns like $20 million per year. Now, as far as some other credits go, how much you need to earn to qualify for Social Security credits in 2026. So if you even want to qualify for Social Security, this is going to be changing a little bit next year in 2026 as well. So they go on here to say that you must earn a minimum of 40 Social Security credits to qualify for retirement benefits, and you are allowed to earn up to 4 credits per year. The SSA cannot pay you benefits if you don't have enough credits. So to earn 1 credit in 2026, you must have wages and or self-employment income of at least $1,890, and you must earn $7,560 to get the full 4 credits. In 2025, you only needed to earn $1,810 to earn a credit, $80 less than what you need to earn in 2026. This, of course, is also going to be increasing annually, so it's once again going to be going up in 2027 as well. But with that said, that's all I have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. As always, leave your thoughts and comments below. But until next time, I will see you in the next one.